When we're discussing triangles, first thing that we need to remember is that a triangle is formed by three line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. And a line segment is just a part of a line that has two endpoints. The pieces of a triangle include the vertex, where the endpoints actually connect, the side, which is going to be exactly like it sounds, a side of a triangle. An angle is going to be what's within it. The angle is created when the two sides connect to create the vertex. We need to also know that within a triangle there's always 180 degrees. There's no change in that, no matter what kind of triangle it is. It's always 180 degrees. So in this example, you have x plus y plus z equals 180 degrees, because as you can see in the triangle, the angles are named x, y, and z. So an example of this, using some actual numbers, if we have angle P, angle Q, and angle R, we need to realize that no matter what, they're going to equal 180 degrees altogether. So angle P is given the value of x, Q is given the value of 54, and R is given the value of 89. So x plus 54 plus 89 equals 180. 54 plus 89 is 143. So whatever x plus 143 is, it equals 180. So in order to get x by itself, we would subtract 143 from both sides, and we would end up with x equals 37 degrees. Now, if we're using ratios to find angle measures, and we're given this example, it says the measure of the angles of triangle ABC are in the ratio of 1, 3, 8. What are the measures of the angle? Okay, what that means is you have three values for x. 1 times it, 3 times it, and 8 times it. And again, what do all of them equal? 180 degrees together. So 1x plus 3x plus 8x equals 180 degrees. Now we just add up all those x's. 1 plus 3 plus 8 is 12. So we have 12x equals 180 degrees. To get x by itself, we would divide by 12, and we get x equals 15. Now, that is what the 1 represents. Now we need to figure out what the 3 represents by plugging in that 15 for the x. So what is 3 times 15? Well, it's 45, so our degree for the second one is 45 degrees. And for the last one, we would take 8 times x. Well, our x value we found was 15, so 8 times x is 120. So our three angle measures are 15, 45, and 120 degrees. Now, just talking about classifying triangles based on their angle. These are all things that you've talked about previously. Just kind of a reminder, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is between 90 and 180 degrees. Now, this is important to know because 180 degrees is a straight angle. When we're looking at some examples of a triangle classified by its angles, an acute angle would be where all of them are less than 90 degrees. So if you see you have 52 degrees, 58 degrees, and 70 degrees, every one of those is less than 90. So because they all are acute, that makes this an acute triangle. Now, in the second one, we have an obtuse angle because we have 105 degrees, which is more than 90 degrees. And then the other two have to be acute, 35 and 40. So because it has one obtuse angle, we would consider this to be an obtuse triangle. And the last example of these is a right triangle where you have a 90-degree angle, and the other 2 degrees are going to have to be less than 90 degrees for this to be the case. If we're classifying them based on sides, we need to talk about what congruence is. And congruent sides are sides that have the same length, so they equal the exact same thing. So if one side equals 8 and it says that another side is congruent to it, it also equals 8. So when we talk about congruent sides, a triangle that doesn't have any sides that are congruent is called a scalene triangle. So no congruent sides, nothing is equal, is scalene. If we're talking about one that has 2 equal sides, then it is considered an isosceles triangle. Now, an isosceles triangle, the 2 sides, they don't have to be the 2 that are pictured. It could have been the left one and the bottom one, or the right one and the bottom one. It doesn't matter where they lie, it's just that there are 2 that are congruent. And then an equilateral triangle is where every side in that triangle is congruent, meaning that all three sides would equal each other. Now, if we have a triangle here that has 120 degrees, 30 degrees, and 30 degrees, and we're shown that two sides are equivalent or congruent to each other, then we would have to classify this by both angles and sides. So talking about the angles, because we have one obtuse angle, that would classify this entire triangle as obtuse. And if we look at the sides, we have two sides that are equivalent or congruent, so this would make it isosceles. So the answer for this particular one would be an obtuse isosceles triangle.